you all can refer this as a specimen and can develop your final research report according to this format. Right. The first element of this is the title page or cover page, right? The program office has already shared the cover page. It's a standard cover page. It was given by the university. So everybody should use that standard cover page as the first page of your report, right? As well, the university shared the declaration page. It is given as statement of originality and authenticity. So you have to attach that page for your report as the second page. And the next would be acknowledgement. The next is abstract or executive summary. If you want, you can use executive summary for the abstract. The same meaning. Anyway, we provide the summary for the report under this topic. And table of content. This is a very big report. So definitely you have to develop a detailed table of content, including all main headings, subheadings, further subheadings with their corresponding page numbers. And since we have different tables and figures in the report, we prepare a list of tables and list of figures as well. Remember, if you use a lot of abbreviations in your report, you can add a list of abbreviation below the list of figures as well. But I didn't include that. But if you have different abbreviations, you can attach list of abbreviations as the next element of the table of content, right? And when it comes to page numbering, you can see I use Roman numbers to number the pages in the preliminary section. Actually, when talking about the structure of a report, not a research report, when it comes to a academic report, we divide it into three areas, three sections as preliminary section, main section, and supplementary section. In the preliminary section, we present the pages, but they are not the main part. These pages are not the main areas of the final report, final research, final report, right? But these are very important to develop a quality report, right? Because in using these pages, we can communicate important points, important areas, especially abstract or executive summary, right? You have to write an executive summary or abstract very clearly. It is a summary. Remember, it is a summary. Don't use 2 pages, 1.5 pages, right? My suggestion is maximum 3/4 is enough. 3/4 is enough, right? Maximum. If not, half a page is enough for the abstract or executive summary. Here you are summarizing the whole report. You are summarizing the whole report. You can include the purpose of your study very clearly, and also the methodology you applied to do your research, the major variables of your work, and then you can present the main findings, major conclusions, as well can include major recommendations in the executive summary. That should be very clear. The purpose of this is actually, if a reader wants, he or she can just read only the abstract to understand the content of the report. If a student writes a correct abstract executive summary, it is not necessary to go through the whole report to get the idea about the report. The abstract presents everything. For detailed understanding, definitely, the report should be referred, but for getting the idea about the report or the what are the areas you are covering or what are the things you present in the report, the abstract is enough. Therefore, you have to write the abstract correctly. Abstract is the summary. Keep this in your mind. Though we attach abstract to the preliminary section, we write the abstract after completing all the chapters, right? And one more thing, for abstract, we use past tense to write the abstract. Since we complete the report, we can use past tense to provide the main points of our research work, right? And below the abstract, at the end of the abstract, right, you can give keywords of your research report. Especially keywords may be independent, dependent variables. If not, the dimensions and dependent variable, these can be the keywords of your research. So at the end of the abstract or executive summary, you can write them. Okay. I will show you one of the samples of abstract later. Likewise, we can complete this part as I did explain the purpose of the Roman numerals here. So in the preliminary section, in the first part, we include additional pages. Actually, they are not the main pages of the report, right? Therefore, we use the Roman numbers to number the pages in the preliminary section, right? We use Roman numerals to number the pages of the preliminary section, right? And then we start the main section of the report from chapter 1, right? You have already completed chapter 1. For the table of content, you can bring the main heading. Here I keep the main headings in bold form. It is not a must. I just use bold form to specify this. And under the main heading, we use different subheadings. Some students use further subheadings as well. And we have to bring all the subheadings and further subheadings to the table of content, right? And here I just put number 1. This is Arabic number 1. Remember, you have to use Arabic numbers or normal numbers we use for numbering the pages in the preliminary, in the main section. That means from chapter 1 to the appendices. At the last page, you have to use Arabic numerals, right? Here in my format, these are the subheadings of chapter 1. Then I brought all these subheadings and how to place the page number of each page correctly in the table of content. Some are preparing table of content, right? Actually, carelessly, they just include only the headings. They are not giving the page numbers. Then no need of presenting table of content. Actually, the main purpose of table of content is to read or refer a particular area very quickly, right? If I want to go through the limitations of your study, I can see the page number and can refer that part very quickly, right? Therefore, page numbers are very important. With the headings, you can present the corresponding page numbers, right? And then chapter 2 is literature review. In literature review chapter, you have different headings. That's what I have given this as about independent, about dependent variable. Don't write this as about independent, about dependent, right? If you can use all the headings, subheadings, further subheadings in chapter 2 for your table of content. Let's say your main independent variable is service quality. You can keep it as 2.2 service quality. That is your independent. Then no need to write that as independent variable. And if you presented different areas under the independent variable, let's say you presented different theories, 2 theories under 2.2.1, 2.2.2, you can bring all those further subheadings for table of content, right? Here, don't follow the same order to develop your table of content. This depends according to the content of your report, right? Some students use different number of headings, right? Accordingly, your headings of the table of content can be different. And when it comes to chapter 3, I guess you all use these headings to complete chapter 3. This is one of the longest chapters in the report. Introduction, conceptual framework, hypothesis, operationalization, research design, and ethical consideration, right? All the subtopics, all further subtopics should be included in the table of content. And then chapter 4, presentation of research findings. Number of headings are different from student to student, right? It depends. That's what I have given dotted lines. You can bring the headings of chapter 4 to the table of content. And chapter 5 also the same, right? Introduction, and I just give this as all subheadings of the chapter, right? It depends. Can be 2, can be 3, can be 5. Some students are presenting discussion in one paragraph, right? It depends. Therefore, according to your work, you can complete the headings of the table of content. And chapter 6, introduction, conclusions, recommendations. If you present limitations of the study, you can include that here, and how to remove the limitations from chapter 1 then, right? And finally, chapter summary, and the final chapter, reflections on developing personal competence, introduction, and topics that can be varied according to your chapter. The number of headings can be presented in the table of content, right? So as a support, you can refer this format to develop the final research report, right? And I told you that there are three main areas, so main section. There are three sections of the report. This is called preliminary section, and this part is the main section or body of the report or heart of the report. And then we develop the final section that is called the final section, if not the last part of the report. Mainly, this consists of two components. One is the reference list. As you know, this is one of the important elements for an academic report, right? Reference list. And the second component is appendices or annexures, right? We use supportive documents to complete our work, right? So all those supportive materials can be attached under different headings. You can name all the attachments as Appendix 1 or Appendix A, B, to C, D, if not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that, right? All the attachments, all the supportive materials should be attached to your reports at the end, right? When it comes to the reference list, you know the importance of the reference list. No need to explain this again and again, right? Isn't it? When you are preparing the reference list, remember you are following Harvard referencing, right? You are following Harvard referencing. Then develop your reference list according to Harvard referencing system. There are differences among different referencing system, right? There are two main referencing system as Harvard and APA, especially in Sri Lankan context. Our state universities use APA referencing system, but the UK universities, most of the UK universities use Harvard referencing system, right? So you have to pay attention on commas, those punctuation marks as well. The unsigned and AND. In Harvard, we use AND. I repeated the same several times for all the students, but still I notice students do the same mistake, right? I don't have time to review these areas in future reviews. Therefore, you have to correct them. And in the reference list, you have to prepare the reference list in alphabetical order, right? A to Z, because first we present author's surname or last name, then initials. So by looking at their last names or surnames, you can arrange the reference list in alphabetical order. And most of the students refer online articles. You do not refer the physical library, right? If you give your references correctly, your sources should have the URL, right? You have to uh, present the URL at the end, available at, then you have to copy paste the URL. I explained this at the literature review common meeting, right? You have to copy paste the URL since you are referring online articles, right? And the titles, the main titles should be in italic form, right? When are present in details for journal articles, the title of the journal should be in italic, right? And there are specific terms for online articles, online reports, online within a square bracket, then available at, and you can copy paste the URL, and at the end you have to present the access date as well. But in APA system, they use retrieved, retrieved from, right? So some students use that, right? That means they do not have the understanding about referencing. Don't use the terms that we use in APA system. You have to adapt to the uh, Harvard referencing system when completing reference list, because your reference list will be a very long one, especially for the literature review part. You referred so many research articles and other academic sources. You have to provide details of all the sources correctly, following Harvard referencing in the reference list, and then can attach the appendices. If you can collect a letter from the organization, you can attach a copy of it or original letter as the first appendix, right? But we know there are some limitations of collecting letters from the organizations. Most of them are not allowing that. Therefore, you will be unable to attach this appendix. But if you can attach the letter collected from the organization, and appendix 2 or B should be your questionnaire. Definitely you have to attach one blank questionnaire, and if you conduct the interviews with respondents, interview guideline should be attached as an appendix. And then Morgan's table, you if you use Morgan tables to determine the sample size, the table can be attached an appendix. Then output of SPSS, the reliability and validity, right? And output of personal details or demographic information, right? And output of correlation, output of regression. If you use other additional statistical measures in SPSS, you can copy paste the original outputs to your Word file as appendices. You have to name these appendices separately, because that is also important in case if your assessor wants to refer your original tables, right? These materials should be available. Therefore, you have to attach them as the appendices to the final uh, research report. Okay, this is the structure. So I presented the structure as a sample table of content. So this will be very convenient for you to organize your chapters for the final research report, right? And below this table of content, I have given the list of tables and list of figures, right? And your list of tables should be organized like this, right? I explained the correct way of numbering tables. And as you know, every table should have a title, right? So you can bring the table number with a table number and the heading title of the table with corresponding page number. Page number can be included here. And sometimes you may not have tables in chapter 1, then your first table may be table 2.1, right? So you can present it under the list of tables. Also list of figures like this. All the figures can be presented under the list of figures. And if you use abbreviations, you can prepare the document for list of abbreviations. If not, no, if you use just 1-2 abbreviations for your work, no need to prepare a list of abbreviations separately. And I told you that example is given for the abstract at the end. You can read it, right? We can start the abbreviation abstract or executive summary like this, right? Maximum 3/4 of your page of a page can be used for the abstract. And at the end of the abstract, the keywords of the research should be presented like this. If you want, can keep this in italic form. Anyway, below the abstract, you can provide the main words, keywords of your research report, right? In this example, I have given uh, I use some sentences for the first paragraph, and if you read this carefully, you can understand about how should we develop the abstract for our report, right? That should be very clear. Just only reading the abstract, the reader should be able to understand the content of the report. Therefore, you have to write this properly because your assessor first read this part and marks are allocated. I guess five marks are allocated for the abstract. Then write the abstract very clearly, including the purpose and also the methodology. You can summarize the methodology and main conclusions can be included, right? These major areas should be presented in the abstract, right? This is about the format of the final research report. And the next important point is formatting, right? Formatting. According to the university guide, they ask the students to use either Times New Roman or Arial. Arial also accepted, but generally you all know when writing reports, we use Times New Roman font. Then you can use Times New Roman as the font. Font size for the body should be 12 font size. Body in the sense for paragraphs of the report, we use 12 font size, right? And at the beginning, from the beginning, I ask you to use 14 bold font for the main headings and 12 bold for subheadings and further subheadings. It is also under the formatting of the report, right? So you can use 14 bold as the main heading. This is the main heading. We don't number the headings in the preliminary section. We start numbering of headings from the main section, chapter 1. Right? Don't number these headings, but font size should be 14 bold. And then for subheadings and further subheadings, you can use 12 bold, right? And here you can see line spacing, right? Line space between two lines, right? It should be 1.5. It's a standard. We can keep line spacing. Yeah, I have already keep 1.5 line spacing. Don't keep as 2 point, right? That's it is not the rule for formatting in your report. Should be 1.5, and the text should be justified like this, right? It should be justified. Don't keep them as left align or right align, right? If it is left align, right, you can see there is no any standard appearance for this. Therefore, you can keep this as the justified or aligned. And the next formatting is when you are separating two paragraphs, you have to keep one additional line spacing, right? And all the new chapters should be started on a new page, right? These are the general formatting guidelines actually we use when developing reports. So you can follow these formatting guidelines to complete your report, right? The appearance of your report is important because that means you do your research correctly, you present your research findings in a proper way, in an attractive way via a report. Therefore, you have to present your report by following the structure, right? The structure as well. Apply these formatting guidelines to develop a good report.